NoHints.com.
Welcome to NoHints.com. My name is Nosres.
And my name is Aris.
And as always, here we are with our 5v5 Fridays. As I stated last week, we are going to be doing sandboxes today.
And to kick off the list here, we're going to start with my number 5 pick, which is Just Cause 3. The reason this game is on my list, for one, you have a massive open world map, and it's really all about sandbox gameplay in this game. It's all about just mass chaos, mass destruction, and you can actually grapple hook one jet to a person and just have them dragging around. That's one of the most awesome things ever. You know what's another cool thing about Just Cause 3, actually? You can grab a deer, drive a car, and just have the deer freaking, just behind you, following you the entire time. It's the most hilarious thing ever.
With that being said, I'm going to get started on my number 5. My number 5 would have to be Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I think the reason is I love Assassin's Creed games and they're very historical. The one thing that stood out about Black Flag for me is not only the pirates with the historical context that they brought to the game, but also rather that you were able to customize your boat and you had naval battles. It wasn't just going around assassinating this target, that target. It was all about controlling the bases, taking the bases to increase your income to buy better weapons, and then you could eventually complete all the naval contracts, the assassination contracts to get better gear. It was just an all-around fun experience, and I also enjoyed the multiplayer that was brought to it and also the add-ons that are part of the game.
And my number 4 on the list is Saints Row 2. This game brought gang warfare back to the modern generation of, 360 and PS3 at the time. This is right coming off when GTA San Andreas was one of the biggest hits, where gang games were pretty much a big deal. This is before Saints Row became ridiculous with superpowers and flying. This is the best Saints Row game there is. And there's great gunplay, great factions you get to take over, and there's these, I want to keep this channel PG, but there's some not appropriate things that you can hit people with in this game.
And what's ironic about that is my number 4 would also be Saints Row 2. For many of the same reasons as Aries said, but what the difference is I enjoyed it because it took Grand Theft Auto, which to me is kind of like not serious, but more of a serious type game, and took it and brought more of a cartoony side to this type of series, and just really made it fun. It wasn't just about going around and evading the cops. It was about going around, taking back your gang, your territory, and I think I had amazing customizations in the game. You can completely customize your car, your outfits, your gang hideouts. It was just a truly fun game for me.
My number 3 on the list is Minecraft. This one is pretty self-explanatory. It's one of the top sandbox games this generation has brought to us. Even though it's a couple years old now, it still has a massive audience. Where I personally enjoyed most of my time in Minecraft was on PC, where I got to play in faction battles and in multiple modded servers. There was always something new to find in it, whether you're playing Hunger Game mods or, again, faction wars. There's multiple ways to have fun in Minecraft.
Now, my last 3 games on the list are all made by the same company, by Rockstar. It's not that I'm biased towards them, I just feel like they know how to make the correct recipe and continue cooking it up right for continuous games. With that being said, my number 3 on the list would have to be LA Noire. It was a game that I truly loved because it took Grand Theft Auto style of driving and gameplay, but you were going around solving mysteries, all the way from a basic homicide detective all the way to a drug detective, and back down and back up, and there were so many plot twists, but the game to me kept you really in depth the whole time and made you really want to solve the mysteries to help the people. With that being said, I also love the way that they did a new facial system, which allowed you to decide if a suspect was lying to you, telling the truth, and you had to pay attention to their story, their words, and use the evidence that you have collected against them to solve the murder case or whatever the case may be properly.
My number 2 on the list is going to be Red Dead Redemption. This was the first sandbox Western-styled game that I have personally played. This game actually made you feel like you were in the Old West. It had great music, great environments. You can actually go to Mexico in this game, which I thought was awesome. So again, with having Mexico in there and the North, you had really 2 different styles of the West working there, which was really different. You also had a great main character, John Marston, which you can really get attached to. He was kind of a rebel, but you really learn to like this guy, especially in all the expansions, including the Knights of the Undead, I believe it was called. The multiplayer was also really good in this game. The posse system was amazing. The ranking system was great. I loved how they integrated little small missions, which pretty much, this game was the basis for what GTA 5 Online is right now.
And with that being said, as I explained earlier, all my games from here on out are Rockstar games, and like Aries said, Red Dead 2 had to make my list. It was a game that I played when I was in high school. Me and my friends spent summers playing it, and I'm going to discuss what I liked the most, which had to be the multiplayer. I didn't think there was anything funner than throwing a Molotov at your friend and having fun watching your friend run away from you, or shooting somebody off their ball and hopping on it and stealing the ball, much like in Grand Theft Auto, where you could steal somebody's car, you could steal people's mounts and things of this nature. Also, another thing I wanted to point out was the guns in the game are actually very historical to that time period, and they were guns that they actually did use.
My number 1 game is Grand Theft Auto 5. There's no reason this game shouldn't be number 1 on my list. It had 3 great characters that you play as, with 3 completely different stories that eventually do get intertwined. The best part of this game is the city of Los Santos itself. It's really diverse. It feels alive, which a lot of Sandbox games lack. There's also the GTA Online portion of this game, which didn't come out till a month after release. It's one of the greatest online games I've ever played. It's a completely different world in GTA Online. There's a lot of missions, there's heists, and they keep updating this game monthly for free. You can just keep playing it and playing it. Even though the game's a couple years old now, it does have a massive community.
With that being said, my number 1 is also GTA 5. It was, to be honest, the first Grand Theft Auto that I've ever actually beaten. And one thing I did love is, without, saying too many spoilers about the game, is I love the ending. There was actually multiple different endings for people who have never played it. I do recommend playing it up to the ending so you can see that before trying online, because online is unique. I like the way they keep doing updates. They did one for 4th of July that brought out muskets. They have all different types of things in the online game that truly makes it an online multiplayer game, which you truly enjoy, and you can do heists with your friends and all different things. It's truly a game that if you never played, I would have to definitely recommend picking up.
Alright, and this is the part of our video where in the series, our 5v5 Fridays, whatever games we have on both lists, we merge them together at the end, and the last few games will be deemed superior. On the list, we both had Saints Row 2. Can you explain why you had that on your list?
Well, I enjoyed Saints Row 2, as I talked about earlier, because it was cartoony, it was something different, and it was unique. It was actually one of the first games that I had from Xbox 360, and I just remember sitting there after school each day playing it until I did complete the game. It had a story that actually kept you intertwined, which is surprising for a game of this caliber.
Exactly. You said it was a cartoonic game. It's just a game you could sink massive hours into. With it being cartoonic, it doesn't take itself seriously, which allows the game to experiment a whole lot more. For example, this game has streaking missions, which, as it implies, you streak, run across the street, and try to scare as many people as you want just to get points.
Precisely. Now, with that being said, there is a couple things that I didn't care for about the game, and it actually is based back off the cartoonic. I feel like there were certain times, like when you would do something or a mission, it wasn't really realistic, which I understand that isn't what the game was going for, but I wish they could have merged them together too. And I feel like sometimes the shooting in the game was a little bit off compared to other games of that caliber that came out around the same time.
But it's still definitely the best Saints Row game out there. Saints Row 3 and 4 just kept ramping up the cartoonic and ridiculousness, and this is the pinnacle of the game.
And I'd have to agree 100% with that. So next on our list, we both have to discuss Red Dead. I would have to agree that would make my top 5, and I'd be shocked if it didn't make anybody else's top 5. I love the game, to be honest, and I love the add-on. Nothing was funner to me than going around and getting a 4 Horses of the Apocalypse.
That was a great mission right there, actually. That was in the Undead expansion, which, again, added a whole, I think, about 10 extra hours to the game. You have to go around capturing the bases. It was just an all-around great game, and again, you get to replay as John Marston before he unfortunately dies in the game, which at this point, if you haven't played the game, I didn't say this was no spoilers, this is no hints.
And I also wanted to let you know, to be honest, the game is on the PlayStation Network right now, and Xbox also has backwards compatibility for it. So as Aries said, if you haven't played it, I would definitely suggest playing it. Now, I do feel like with every video, we have to have a con in it. Now, the one thing I'd have to say about the con is when you did go online, this would be my biggest downfall, is if you had people that had superior guns to you, they could shoot you from a farther distance and take your money or make you start over again, and that was the only issue I had with the game.
Starting off of a donkey was terrible. Oh my gosh. If you get the slowest mount, and you actually have to play so many hours before you get anything decent. One of the funniest thing about this game, I just want to mention, is riding your horse off a dang cliff. That's one of the most funny thing ever.
I would have to agree with that. That is quite hilarious. Do you want to get the discussion started on GTA 5, sir?
Alright. Again, GTA 5, it crafted the best sandbox game I've ever played at this point. I'm sure GTA 6 will find a way to top it. One of the biggest changes in the GTA series is that you can now control 3 characters. And in a lot of missions, you can control them simultaneously, which is pretty fun. And adds a different extra element to the game, where the old previous GTAs did not.
And I'd have to agree with that. I'm really hoping that they actually continue this with Red Dead 2, which, if you haven't seen, they are coming out with in the future. So I hope that they continue with the multiple stories of protagonists, because it makes the game unique, because you get 3 different personalities. Now, back on topic of GTA, I feel like that was very unique. Nothing I enjoyed more than ranking up each person, because each person had a special ability, where Michael could shoot the guns, Franklin could drive the cars, and then you had Trevor, who had the ability to become temporarily invincible. I felt like this added a unique depth, because it took from San Andreas, where you had to level up the skills of all of your characters, but each character still had their special ability that still made them shine, even if you had all of their stats maxed out.
And then there's GTA Online, which you can customize your own character from scratch. Build them up to be where you had your GTA main characters at. You could get them penthouses, mansions, 3... You could get them multiple cars. I personally have 2 lots full of 10-car garages. It's just straight fun.
The only thing I didn't care for much about the online, which I don't know if Aries agrees or disagrees, is that they actually allowed you to buy money in the game, which I felt made it a little cheesy in my opinion, because it was allowing people to not work for the same things that we had to work for to get, but rather spend a little bit of real money cash and be able to purchase anything they wanted in the game.
Alright, so in that sense, I agree and disagree. I agree that money in the game and spending it shouldn't allow you to proceed and get better than anyone else in the game. However, I feel like them adding that portion in the game allows them to come out with all these free updates that they do on a periodic basis.
And I'd have to agree with that. I understand completely why they did it. It was just my only issue is I'd never been a big fan of the games where you had to pay to get ahead. But like I said, GTA 5 is definitely one of my favorite games. And with that being said, this is what we had to discuss so far for this story. Stay tuned next week for our RPG video on our 5v5 Friday.
Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Check us out on our website, nohints.com. Check our Twitter and Facebook, which will be posted on the screen.
This is Nosres signing out.
And Aries. Have a good one.